Welcome to Quantum Finance. My name is Parker. I'm the head trader here, but I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. So in today's video, we'll take a look at the economic calendar, we'll go over some news, and then we'll do our market recap and market analysis. So starting here on the economic data, today we got core retail sales month over month come in at 0.4% with 0.4% expected. And we also had retail sales month over month come in at 0.4% with 0.8% expected. Tomorrow, Wednesday, May 17th, we do get building permits for April, and then we also get some crude oil inventories. Now we can look at some news here. So we did have Home Depot report earnings today, and they reported the worst revenue in 20 years, with a 4.2% revenue drop year over year, which is the largest they've had since the Great Financial Crisis. And their transactions were down 4.8%. And here we have the U.S. planning to buy 3 million barrels of oil for emergency reserves. We also have Ukrainian media reporting that the Chief Justice of the country's Supreme Court has been detained for receiving a bribe of around $3 million. And this is U.S. industrial production right here. As you can see, for the past 2 decades, the U.S. industrial production has remained stagnant, despite experiencing, exponential growth here for 80 years prior. And this is the federal funds rate on the top and the dollar index on the bottom. So in the past 3 Fed hiking cycles, pause phase meant different things for the U.S. dollar down here. And in the early 2000s, the dollar grinded higher, then eventually fell. In the mid 2000s, the dollar couldn't regain any strength. In 2019, the slow grind higher to peak in 2020, then it declined into 2021. And here we have the North American Fertilizer Price Index. As you can see, fertilizer prices are down 59% from their peak last year, which is at the lowest levels now since January of 2021, which is good news because they are really highly correlated to food prices. Here we have lumber futures, as you can see, down to their lowest levels since May of 2020, down 81% from the peak in May of 2021. We also have Chinese yuan reaching a record usage in global central bank swap lines in the first quarter of 2023. And this is the residential real estate loan volume versus the commercial real estate loan volume. As you can see, much more volume here in the residential real estate loans. And this is the BRICS GDP here, with China at 19 trillion, India at 3.7 trillion, Russia at 2 trillion, Brazil at 2 trillion, and South Africa at 400 billion. And we also have Venezuela abandoning the US dollar for economic transactions. So now we can do our market recap. We'll start here in the debt market, looking at the US 10-year yield, getting a green day today. Continuation to the upside after, kind of breaking that trend yesterday and just kind of bouncing, wicking off this midline here, making its way up towards the upper end of this daily range, running right into the midline here on the weekly chart. Looking at the dollar, green day here in the dollar today, after getting a pullback yesterday, still looks like it wants to squeeze to the upside here, making its way up towards this midline on the weekly chart. Turning to the stock market, pretty decent red day here in the stock market today, closing below that midline. The last couple times we've got down into this level, we did get pretty strong wicks to the upside, but today we did not get that wick and we did close below that midline. Looking at cryptocurrencies, we have Bitcoin getting a red day today after getting rejected off that midline pretty much yesterday. Still just kind of consolidating down here at the lower end of this daily range and above this previous kind of level here from the end of March. Looking at XRP, we do have a red day here in XRP. Not too much to talk about here still. Just consolidating down here at the lower end of this daily range. Right above, right at this level here from January. Turning to commodities, we have oil getting a red day today. Just still sitting down here consolidating at the lower end of this daily and monthly range. Turning to gold, we do have a big red day here in gold today, breaking down through this midline, working its way down here through the lower end of this daily range, coming in for a retest of this structured support here from the end of April. If you remember a couple of videos ago, I was talking about how it looked kind of toppy here on the monthly. So we did just turn red here on the month. Looking at silver, red day here in silver, also continuation to the downside, continuing its sell-off here after basically topping out at this upper extreme here on the monthly chart. Pretty much sitting right here in the middle of this price action here from January. Now we can do our market analysis. We'll start with our volume analysis here on the S&P 500 daily chart. As you can see, fairly low volume today. Pretty much almost the same volume we got yesterday. Well below this volume average here, but pretty much all selling today. Not even a sliver of green on our candle here. Pulling down into this wick level. We can turn to the 3-minute here. So we did get a gap down this morning. Got a little push here off the open and then really just kind of pulled back, selling off. And then really just went sideways most of the day. Like really just no action at all. Just chopping sideways all day. And then we did get a sell-off into the close here. We can zoom out a little bit. So if you look here on the 15-minute, we did have that big gap down here, gapping down into this lower extreme, holding it as support, bouncing up, running into this trend line we've been talking about for the past couple days. Running right into that trend line, getting a massive rejection down here, down through the lower extreme before recovering, getting back above it, holding it as support. Then, just going sideways before getting a squeeze to the downside into the close. Still inside of this kind of pattern we have drawn up here. Breaking down through the midline to the downside here on momentum. I guess it's kind of looking like it wants to come down and retest these lows. See if this lower trend line can hold as support. Now we can look here at the VIX and the NASDAQ. So as you see I will start on the VIX. As you can see on the VIX here, opening up here, getting a pretty volatile candle here, and then really just kind of holding support before getting a nice push into the close, pushing into this pretty significant resistance level that we've been forming over the past couple weeks. I would look for this level to maybe break out and make its way up, and maybe fill this gap up here, while the SPY is retesting the lower end of that range. And maybe while the NASDAQ here is breaking to the downside off this bearish falling wedge pattern. As you can see, pushing up here, trying to get an extension above this upper trend line here, but not able to, and now pulling back down into this here pattern. I would expect if we do start pulling down into the SPY here. Let me pull the SPY up. So if we do get a breakout there in the VIX, I would expect the SPY to come down here, potentially hold, maybe break this lower support level, with the NASDAQ coming down here and breaking this lower trend line for a reversal, bearish reversal to the downside here. So we were looking, in my opinion, kind of bullish until today. Today was pretty bearish price action. As you can see here on the daily chart, these were looking pretty bullish here with all these wicks to the upside. But as you can see, getting a pretty bearish close today, closing at the lows. But we will have to see how we open up tomorrow. So we can look at some trading opportunities from today. To be honest, I mean, this price action was disgusting, right? I mean, this is just super choppy price action. I didn't like this price action here in the morning. It is extreme volatility, not really any good retest of VWAP. As you can see, you got a rejection here, but it just came down for a retest of the lows basically. And then just sideways chop all day, not really any good trades at all. If you weren't patient today, you definitely could have got chopped up pretty good in this. But, trying to decide like if you wanted to trade today, you had like pretty, it was bearish MACD most of the day, but you also had like fairly bullish momentum on the 2-hour. So it was pretty contradictory here, as you can see, pretty choppy. And if you look at the 3-minute, there wasn't really any good type of patterns to draw or set up down here on the momentum. Unlike yesterday where we had these nice rising and falling wedges. As you can see today, not really any good patterns to draw out here. As you can see, just kind of chopping in this range for most of the day before getting a slight breakdown here. But even this breakdown here, not the best setup. Just going straight down through VWAP here in this kind of death candle. But yeah, so today was basically a no trade day today. Haven't had one of those in a while, but today was just pretty bad price action. Didn't really like any setups here on the 3-minute of the S&P 500 today. But a lot of selling coming in today after a lot of buying that we have got over the past week or two. So yeah, it will be really interesting to see how we open up tomorrow. See if we start really curling down here on the weekly chart. Come back down for a retest of these lows, maybe these lower wicks here, which do line up with this lower extreme. If you remember yesterday's video, I was saying if we broke out of that downtrend here, I would expect a test of the upper extreme. But we are, just sitting right here in the middle of this range. So we are going to break sooner or later. And it's either going to come up, for a retest of this upper and lower extreme. As you can see, this upper extreme lining up with this swing high here, and this lower extreme lining up with these swing lows down here. So, whichever way we break, if we break these lows here or if we break the that downtrend, to the upside, I'm definitely going to be looking for a move to take that trade to really fade down to this lower extreme or, melt up here to this upper extreme. So definitely keep an eye on this range that we're in here on the S&P 500. Because if we do break this level, definitely be looking for this level down here, right? And then if we do break to the upside, just look for basically a retest of these highs up here. But yeah, that should do it for the video. Appreciate y'all watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.